Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've done a video, but I thought I might do one while I'm taking another walk on a nice Sunday afternoon in the Coachella Valley. As you can see in the title of this video, it's in two parts about entering the real world. A while ago, I would say about a week ago or so, I made a video which technically included what would be the two parts of this video, but it was too long for my phone to upload the video to YouTube, so I'm going to go ahead and start with part one. Now, number one, entering the real world. For a lot of young kids, you're going to have to go ahead and realize and give up on a lot of what you were told in school and growing up. Now, let me get started with what I mean. When I was in school, earlier on in my life, I based my self-confidence and self-value on getting good grades and doing well in school and please my teachers, because I didn't have very much else going on with my life, and I was considered to be a bright and smart kid, so I thought I might go further along into that as far as making good grades and pleasing my teachers and going the route of going to college and finding a good job and a career. And then that standard, basically what has been already paved in our society. But then later on, right towards, say, my sophomore, junior year of high school, I started to think, why is it that I'm learning about all these abstract subjects, such as history and writing and math? Even though some of it is in fact relevant, we do need to know how to read and write. We need to know basic mathematics in a lot of areas of our life in the real world. Why is it that I have to learn about the quadratic formula or onomatopoeia or all these other terms that really don't apply to the real world? And why is it that school doesn't teach us about real world, basically activities that you need to partake in, such as being able to find a job or prepare for a job, hands-on skills, and paying your taxes, paying your bills, and everything else within that regard? I think that personally, the education system in the United States does not prepare young kids for the real world like other countries do. For comparison, I remember when I was in college, in community college, I was talking with this French professor, this lady who was from France, who teaches French, the language, at the school. And she said that in France, and in all parts of Europe really, they have set up the education system to invest more into young people's individual talents. Say, for example, they don't have SATs in Europe. Right around secondary school, I believe that's what they call it, they give different students different tests based on what they're good at. If they're great at writing, they're given a writing test. If they're great in math, they're given a math test. If they're great in culinary arts or art, they're given that sort of test. And I thought, why is it they don't do that in the United States? Here's why I think it is. When you look at what was told in school, what you go through in school, it's basically like this. You memorize and you rehash what the teacher wants you to temporarily memorize and imposes on you through the textbook, through what is presented in the presentation, and what you see in videos, and based on how well you have regurgitated the information, you're given a grade. I think the only way that school really prepares young people for the real world is that it prepares you on how to basically become an obedient worker for a business or a boss. The whole thing of you going ahead and basically memorizing and rehashing information. Sorry about the light, I'm just passing through a brick wall along the way. The whole thing of memorizing and rehashing information is basically school's sheltered equivalent of preparing you to work for a boss. Say in the real world, you work for someone else, and they give you a project or assignment to take care of. And then you're expected to take care of it within a certain deadline. And so based on how punctual you are in carrying out that assignment and how well you're done, that shows them how valuable you are to the business, and then your reward for a paycheck. Just like in school, what they do, basically, let me just take off my glasses, is you're given an assignment, a project, an essay, or a test. And based on how well you have basically regurgitated the information that has been taught through you on the curriculum standards for your grade level, they give you a grade. And the more you have, the better you are at memorizing the information, regurgitating it, the more further ahead in life you're going to be. So, I think in that regard, the education system in the U.S. is flawed because it teaches us to be obedient workers, but it doesn't really invest in our own individual talents and skills like they do in trade schools or other sort of schools that they have more so in Europe, as I found out not only through that college professor I said earlier, but even my research on my own. When I was in college and doing a project of education in the United States and how it compares to other countries around the world, our education system is pretty much average or below average compared to other countries. We have very poor reading and writing skills. We have very poor essential skills, problem-solving skills in the education system. And even experts within our own country can agree upon this. And another thing, going from this into why I think a lot of young people are not prepared for the real world, besides just that education doesn't really invest into people's skills and talents, is that we were babied and coddled in school. Remember when we were young and your counselors and professors basically told you stuff like, I have something written down right here, is, oh, you can do whatever you want. Follow your passion. Do what you enjoy. And then you'll be able to be happy and make a great life and career out of it. Whatever. For those of you who enter the real world that idea, you realize that a lot of that is actually bullshit. Because here's the thing. If everyone did what they enjoyed and what they're passionate about, then we would miss out on carrying out other sorts of necessary fulfillments, necessary investments of time and energy and work in our society. Not everyone can become a rock star or an artist or a movie star or things that a lot of people are passionate about, but only very few people actually go ahead and accomplish during their lifetime. And even then, a lot of those people still aren't happy. The thing of it is that if everyone did basically what they were passionate about, we would not have a functioning society, because there's honestly a lot of things that we would rather not do that needs to be done. Of course, we need to have people in political office in order to create laws and enforce the laws. We need police officers, people in law enforcement, to keep the peace within our communities. There's a lot of people that would rather not become a police officer or politician, but they need to be done. Or to go further, we need skilled tradesmen, which is a pretty large shortage, especially in the U.S., because all young kids basically are told to do is go to college. And if you go ahead and you go learn a trade, such as being a welder or mechanic, something like that, there has been this idea that, oh, you're not very smart if you go into those fields. Smart people go to college and get white collar jobs, not blue collar jobs. But these are, in fact, very necessary career fields in our society. We need to have people who are skilled tradesmen. We need to have construction workers. We need to have people who provide services to others, such as accounting, and anything else along those lines. And these might be things that a lot of us would rather not do, but they need to be done, okay? And that brings in what I've learned when I was watching this interview of Mike Rowe, who was the host of a TV show, Dirty Jobs, back in the day, for those of you who don't know. He was talking about on how there is an extreme shortage of basically filling in job opportunities in skilled trades and fields, and how a lot of people are basically chasing their passion. He said, don't follow your passion, follow opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity out there for you young people. You know, I followed the opportunity when I was in college. Oh, I wanted to do music. But even though I personally was fiddling around with the guitar and the bass guitar for a few years or so, I realized I honestly didn't have it. And I didn't really have time and energy and dedication for it. So I decided that I needed to move on and focus on something more realistic. And another thing I found out personally was that a lot of guys who are musicians don't make very much money. I can go into several stories about that personally, but that's a whole nother video, I guess. And I also thought, oh, I'd like to be a DJ. I really love music. I have a large record collection, and I have CDs. But then looking around on how music is nowadays, I wouldn't do it. This is going to be a whole nother video, but I don't like music that's out nowadays. And I knew if I tried to make a living as a DJ now, I would hate my job. So I settled with something more realistic that was given to me. I'll admit, I was privileged, but I was given the opportunity to work for my dad at his BMW auto mechanic shop. And I've been working for him for 6 years, and I come a long ways from not knowing anything about cars, not knowing how to deal with customers, and being thorough with your work. Real life skills, basically. And it's really helped me to grow. And it was something that I didn't want to do in the beginning, but what I did was I looked around at the other options I had available to me, and I surrendered to what I've already had. Because I see a lot more potential in my position of working as a mechanic, especially for what we have around here, in which there's a lot of people that want their cars fixed, and they don't know how to do it. We have a loyal clientele. We have an independent shop. We are not told what to do and when to do it. It's just me and my pops. So that's what life is really all about. Is that you gotta weigh the options that are given to you or that are out there. And it's determined based on your attitude, your life's decisions, the way you were raised, and what is taught to you on what to do, what not to do by your parents, and what society has to offer. You basically got to make the best of the cards that you're dealt with, okay? But I got a list of other things that you can look into to help give you more options. But that's going to be for the next video, which is going to be coming up real soon. I'll see you then.